Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in this evening's podcast, we're going to be previewing the two big matches coming up on the weekend. First up, Liverpool takes on Brentford, and then the big one on Sunday, Chelsea playing host to Man City. Now, joining me this evening to preview these two matches, we have returning to the podcast, Sir Cole.
Greetings, viewers and subscribers. There.
We also have Christophe.
Good to be back again, subscribers.
Yes, indeed, gents. Welcome to the platform. We have two big matches coming up. Liverpool versus Brentford is the first one on the agenda. And I'll come to you on this one first off, Sir Cole. Liverpool, Brentford, how do you see these two teams entering into this fixture?
Liverpool suffered their first defeat today in the Europa League. Seem to be conceding a number of goals. So first thing I expect Brentford to exploit that, lapse in defensive stability and be on the score sheet. That being said, the pool also got some goals. So I expect both teams to score. However, I do expect Liverpool to come out victorious in this one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Liverpool have this tendency of really conceding the first goal and then fighting from behind. I mean, it's a trend which has been taking place since the start of the season. And I mean, I really don't expect different in this game, especially coming off a defeat in Europe. But Christophe, how do you see this one? Brentford, playing some decent football, Liverpool at home.
I kind of agree with Sir Cole. Liverpool defense has looked leaky, as you have said in weeks prior. They are susceptible to conceding the goal, but I think Liverpool just have enough firepower to see off Brentford. Today we kind of saw them lose to Toulouse. I don't think they should be losing to them, but anything is possible in football sometimes. But I expect Liverpool to bounce back against Brentford. They'll take that game much more seriously, and I think they have enough firepower to see off Brentford in that match.
Interesting perspective there, gents. I mean, both of you seem to be leaning towards a Liverpool victory. Personally, I am not too sure because I know, the Brentford team, once they're playing a big six side, usually have a very well thought out game plan. And I mean, Brentford, we saw the last time out versus Chelsea, form a big six, if you want to look at it that way. They played what I would say is a back five, like a 5-3-2 formation. And I personally expect a similar setup versus Liverpool for this one. So I am not sure about a Liverpool victory, while on paper, the odds should favor Liverpool. But on the field of play, it might be a different story because tactically, I feel the Brentford coach has something up his sleeve. How do you see the starting 11 circle? Do you see any major changes for both Brentford as well as Liverpool?
Well, before referring to the starting 11, I'm not reading too much into the defeat as such because Liverpool would have, put in a bit of rotation in that game. Because in the last part where they tried to bring on back the big guns to try and catch it back and they almost did were not for the VAR the decision in the final minute of the game. So I'm not reading too much into the loss in terms of the starting 11. I don't see much variation in terms of much experimentation coming in. We expect the usual up top of Salah, likely Darwin, and probably Jota or Diaz on the left. Defense probably have a bit more room for rotation where we see on the left side. Simikas not starting the last game but coming on as a sub. So there, it's kind of iffy, but central, I don't think much will change there either.
Well, I mean, centrally, we know for sure that McAllister is suspended for this fixture, having, picked up
the red card last game.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he will definitely be out. So there should be some shuffling in that midfield tree. I mean, Soboslai should start and possibly a Gravenbach. But that whoever is playing that 6 role, that is the key role, that destroyer or that defensive midfield role who is going to build it from the back, almost like a deep line playmaker. That may very well be the critical decision that Klopp has to make in this game. For me, though, I would personally play the young Englishman, Curtis Jones, a very underrated player, but one who I personally rate highly. And he could possibly get the nod for this one, but someone will have to step up to play that role that McAllister would have occupied. Endo is another option, but I am not too sure. Klopp seemed to shelter him from the EPL games and play him more in Europe currently. So my money would be on Jones to start that one. And of course, you mentioned, that left back position is another area of contention for Liverpool. And I do believe it's an area that Brentford should be looking to target, especially Brentford playing 5 at the back and looking for those fullbacks to push on. So to me, it's going to be a tighter game than what the odds may show. But Christophe, welcome back. I mean, we were here talking about the potential tactical approach that either team may take. What say you?
Brentford will probably, will definitely deploy heavily overloading the flanks because of that problem position for Liverpool on the left at the moment. I would also, heavily exploit the right hand side. I think they'll find lots of joy down each flank since players like Salah don't necessarily track back to defend. So overloading those wide areas would be a good idea in order to get crosses in, cutbacks, and get chances and goal for Brentford. Um, Positive for Brentford is they did beat West Ham last week, and it was a close 3-2, but it was impressive to say the least because West Ham has played well in the last few games. Um, Brentford, however, has fallen to some of the bigger teams in the league so far this season, losing to Newcastle, losing to Arsenal, and was it Manu? Even Manu, who is struggling there, also lost to Manu. So I don't know how the game will fully play out. I don't know. I think Brentford will get a goal just because of how leaky Liverpool defense is, but I maintain that Liverpool just has that more offensively to win the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you raised some very solid points there. In fact, I feel Brentford should be riding high, with the loss of Ivan Toney, this team has not missed a beat. Mbumo, Wissa, Jensen in the middle there, Norgard. These guys have really stepped up their game and the goals have been coming, results have been coming as well. And you do mention they have lost to some of the bigger name teams, but they did get that scalp over Chelsea and West Ham just now in their previous game. And I do believe they may very well get something out of this Liverpool fixture as well. you
Just
know?
to chime in a bit, I believe that they have been very deadly on the counter, especially that last week against Chelsea, where they had the breakaway and Mbumo basically started the attack and ended the attack. So it shows a willingness to go forward at pace and to work with the plan and the coach, and it has been paying rich dividends for them.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, having watched Brentford in a number of these big games, they changed their tactic in order to counter whatever plans, the home team, especially when they play away from home, they usually try to form a solid base defensively. And as you mentioned, soak up that pressure and then hit on the counter, speed the players up front, looking to press high, win the ball in the opposition half, and then hit you on the break. And I think it's a similar plan. And I feel this plan may very well work against Liverpool. I mean, we saw the Luton goal in Liverpool's last game. That was a perfectly executed plan. And if Brentford was watching that game, then to me, that's the ideal blueprint. But just to maintain a bit more defensive solidarity, as opposed to, what Luton displayed, allowing Liverpool to hit back with a goal and that one ending in a draw. But in terms of a scoreline, Sir Cole, how do you see this one playing out from a scoreline point of view?
I'm really thinking that it should. I find it to be a close 3-2 win for Liverpool.
Close 3-2 win for Liverpool. Christophe, what says you?
I was going to go with a 2-1 win to Liverpool.
For this one, I'm gonna call the upset. I'm right now. I'm not trusting this Liverpool team. Defensively, I just think they are too suspect. Yes, they have a very good record at home. That's a given. However, I believe this Brentford team is experienced enough, having deployed their plans away to several of the big teams. I don't think this team will be frightened by the aura of Anfield. And, the Brentford coach is no fool. He will be coming to Anfield with a game plan in mind. And I feel Brentford may very well get some joy in this game. So I really don't see Brentford losing this game. I'm thinking Brentford will either cause a major upset by winning, just before the international break, or get something in terms of a draw. But I don't see Liverpool winning this one, to be honest, Sir Cole.
What's your scoreline for this one?
I am going to go 2-1 Brentford. I feel both teams will score. Liverpool's defense has been a sieve all season. And I would even go so far as to say Brentford will score first. That has been the trend in Liverpool games. The opposition team scoring first and then Liverpool rallying and playing catch up, so to speak. But I feel Brentford will score. Liverpool may come back and equalize. And then in pushing for a winner, Brentford may very well catch them on the counter or hold out for that draw. That's how I'm seeing it, But the ball is round and any card can play, so to speak. But we move, Sir Cole, and we move to the next big game on the agenda. This one taking place at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea versus Man City. Of course, Chelsea coming off that controversial victory over Spurs in their last game. And of course, Man City now turning the wheels. They have a number of wins in succession currently. So this one, they should be marking down for another victory as well. But Christophe, I'll come to you first on this one. Chelsea, Man City, how do you see these two teams?
You know what I've been saying? I think Chelsea has been tricking the crowd. I don't think they're as good as what people are thinking. I do feel that they will be beaten by City. Chelsea will try to make tactical tweaks to try and stop Man City playing through the midfield, playing out. But Man City are just that much better under Pep Guardiola. I don't see it. It is at Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, but I don't see Chelsea coming away from this with anything. Um, Erling Haaland, I heard, is only half fit, but an only half fit Erling Haaland is still very deadly up front. But also the form of we saw Doku last week getting 4 assists. I expect him to start again and to be impressive in those wide areas for City. Chelsea's best bet will be on the counter attack, I think, using the pace of the likes of Sterling. But Man City is just such a well-rounded team, and when they go forward, they do sit back in three at the back. So they're playing three centre backs at the back. I don't think Chelsea have or Pochettino has the tactics to defeat Man City at this time.
Interesting breakdown there, Christoph. Definitely. I mean, I can definitely concur with a few of your points, especially Doku starting. I mean, Pep in these games is always throwing up a surprise, to be honest. So just when you think you have Pep figured out, just when you think a player such as Doku having gotten 4 assists and a goal, 2 goals in the last game, you would think he's a shoo-in to start. Pep may very well roll out a tactic That surprised many. But Sir Cole, coming to you on this one, give us your take. How do you see these two teams entering into this one?
Yeah, on the matter of Doku already, scoring a goal and getting 4 assists last game is no guarantee of starting this game, as we have seen with Pep over the years. I'm not really swayed by the Chelsea win this week. Beating a Spurs team down to 9 players, losing the 2 central defenders, I mean, it's no sign of a turnaround in fortunes, I think. If you can't beat 9 men at this level, then it's really say, that you're a very poor team. I did say also that come this time of year, City go on their run. And I think that we have known, we need to see the start of such run. They were able to score almost 5 goals weekend, and without anything from Haaland, who came up at halftime. So to be so free scoring, tell me that yes, they are getting things, up in the groove, and I see another win for Chelsea, for City over Chelsea for this one.
Yeah, I mean, Pep will definitely be looking to get all 3 points. And, looking at the Chelsea squad composition currently and the sort of team Pochettino has been fielding, it's hard to see any major tweaks that he will be making in terms of personnel that is really going to challenge this Man City outfit. It's hard to see what he may change in order to somewhat cramp the Man City style. I think he's gonna go with the usual midfield 3 suspect, which has been Gallagher, Enzo, and Caicedo. That has been the midfield trio that seem to be commanding that starting spot in that 11. And similar, setup defensively, the veteran Thiago Silva. James seemed to be back, and possibly he may very well play Colwell on the left-hand side there. But it's hard to see any major tweaks that's gonna allow Chelsea to really elevate their game and put up any real challenge versus the juggernaut of a Man City. But Sir Cole, from a tactical or team selection point of view, I mean, it's hard. We know it's hard to read Pep, but do you see any major changes? Even Haaland, as Christophe mentioned, was flagged unfit. Yet we saw him in the Champions League banging in goals still. Even though he was taken off at halftime with what Pep was saying, hey, suspected injury. He's back Wednesday banging in goals, and I'm sure he'll be back for this Chelsea game as well.
Yeah, I think him coming off at halftime was just a precaution, especially considering the opponents they were facing on the scoreline at the time, having already been in the lead. As for a starting 11, I do think that Doku should get the nod, even though it is no guarantee. Haaland up front, Foden on the right side, Bernardo, Rodri in the middle. Defense is where we left a bit more room to guess as to who will play where. But Walker pretty much seems cemented on the right side. Stones is back. I expect him basically to.
Oh, the last report I heard those Sir Cole was that Stones was out injured.
Out injured.
Out injured.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that
so I think Stones this game may very well come too soon for Stones, and especially with the international break coming up.
Then it probably would make sense to try and force him back.
Right.
But then it means that Akanji and Diaz are the likely options in central defense.
Yeah, that seemed to be the case. Yeah, Akanji, I'm not sure about Akanji. Isn't Akanji on some sort of suspension, if memory serves me correctly?
No, but Akanji got a goal on the weekend from a deflection from a Doku shot. So Akanji is back.
Oh, Akanji is back, so he may
Yeah,
very well get
Akanji
the
already
nod.
Akanji already served his ban and his back.
Oh, okay, because I do recall, he picking up some sort of red card, I believe. It may have been 2 yellow then, to
It
a
was two
red, and
yellows.
then it's a 1 game
That's
suspension.
actually it's a 1 game suspension. Yes.
Got you. Yeah, so he may very well be back in the City defensive line there, and Pep seemed to be employing this sort of back three. One of the Stones oftentimes pushes on into the midfield, and then it becomes a back three. But with Stones possibly out, I'm not sure who may play that inverted role. It's almost like a rotation. Any player out of that back four can really step into the midfield and offer some additional protection for Rodri inside there. And it's a system which seems to suit the sort of style that Pep has been employing. And it's fair to say many teams have found this tactic rather difficult to counter. Yeah, I'm not sure if any team plays this system as well as how it is played by Man City. And it's hard to see how Chelsea is really going to stop this sort of plan. But I feel Pochettino will spring a surprise. I don't think he's going to go with the same sort of tactics he employed against Spurs, because watching that game, Spurs almost destroyed Chelsea in the opening, I would say, 15 to 20 minutes. Spurs was all over them and they could have had 2 goals, but they got 1. So if he comes with that tactic, I'm sure Man City is not going to be as wasteful as the Spurs team was. So I feel Pochettino may very well play an extra midfielder, maybe bringing in someone a bit more defensive minded to play alongside Caicedo. And, he may very well employ a false 9, the same sort of tactic he did versus Arsenal. I feel he may go that route, Sir Cole. But my guess is as good as yours.
Well, while he may go that route, I doubt any route at all will lead to success in this particular game. Man City is too good a team, too well prepared to be overcome, I think, in this game against Chelsea.
Yes, indeed. But Christophe, how do you see this one playing out? What's your score prediction?
3-0 City.
3-0 City. So you don't see Chelsea troubling the Man City goal?
No.
Tough times ahead then for Chelsea, it seems, if Christophe predictions are to be true. But Sir Cole, how do you see it? What's the scoreline you're looking at?
Well, I was really seeing it very similar, because besides that Spurs game, Chelsea has really been struggling for goals. And mind you, they got 4 against 9 men. So against 11, I expect it to be back to regular programming, not scoring, and Man City scoring 3+ goals.
I totally agree. It was a Spurs team down to 9 men, played a very high line, ball over the top, everything is dead.
Yeah, I mean, I too see a Man City win. However, I do feel that with Chelsea playing at home, Chelsea has been creating. I don't want viewers and subscribers to get it twisted. Chelsea has been creating chances. If you check their XG, they have a decent enough XG per game. However, the problem with Chelsea is that they are not finishing their chances. That is the problem. I don't think this is a team which lacks creativity. So chances are being creative, but what it lacks is a clinical striker. And we saw that even though Jackson in the last game got a hat-trick, if he was clinical, he could have had 5 or 6. So I think that may be the problem with Chelsea. They definitely need clinical finishers. But for me, I'm going to go with a 3-1. I do feel they will get a cancellation, but I very well think that, I see no other result other than a Man City win.
Based on how Chelsea has been playing, if it's not for the goals from 12 yards, they get the odd penalty, they really don't produce much from open play. 3 goals in the last game aside.
Yeah, I mean, as mentioned, the finishing has been poor. To me, as I said, I see chances. Is a team which create chances. Even if you don't watch the whole game, if you look at the highlight reels, you will see chances being created, but players blazing over the top, hitting it straight to the keeper, missing outrightly. That's the sort of finishing that Chelsea has been displaying all season. But if you check the chances, the chances have been created, but against this Man City team, obviously your chance may be limited, and it's games like these when you have to be lethal or clinical in front of goal. Man City has it. I don't see Chelsea having it, but Jackson getting 3 goals in the last game should give him some sort of confidence. So hopefully, if a chance presents itself, he's able to take it. But the ball is round. But I guess all three of us are saying Man City win. But Sir Cole, other games are on. I mean, how do you see the other fixtures in this weekend round of action? How do you see things panning out in other games?
Well, we already discussed the big games. I'm hoping that Man U can recover from their debacle yesterday against Copenhagen. Really didn't see us losing that game from being 2 goals up. Hopefully this time the dice can roll better for us and we can finish the game with 11 and be on the positive side of the scoreline.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ten Hag should be under some tremendous pressure, and I believe Man City is facing Luton. I mean, Man U is facing Luton.
Yeah, we play
I
Luton.
mean, nothing other than a victory in that game. I mean, I'm not
But
sure how the
you
narrative
know,
will spin
Man,
if
you know,
Man City,
Liverpool
Man
said that
United
last
lose
week,
to
right?
Luton.
That was expected of Liverpool last
That
week.
was expected, but I mean, at the end of the day, Liverpool isn't under the sort of pressure I see Ten
but
Hag being placed under.
it's funny, This week I learned a statistic. Guess who is the fastest manager to 50 wins?
What, Ten Hag? Ten Hag?
Ten Hag. 50 wins in 79 games for Eric. Ten Hag.
Yeah, I mean, it just
It's
goes to
funny.
show how quickly the environment can change. I
Yeah,
mean,
Judge.
it's the nature of football these days. Once you lose 2 or 3 games, all of a sudden the vultures come circling. You know.
That
But
is true.
Christoph, how do you see things panning out for your Arsenal? I mean, we saw Arsenal getting a victory midweek. Can they bounce back in the league?
I expect them to do better this week than last week, given the number of injuries that they are carrying. They are forced into some changes that I think might have needed to be carried out before. I expect to see them continue with Trossard up front, and as we can see, Trossard does do a very good job dovetailing with both Saka and Martinelli and creating space. So I'm expecting to see more of that. The question is for me, will Kai Havertz continue this weekend? Because I did see, I'm not a fan of Havertz, but the last 2 games I've seen him play, I've seen where it looks like he's grown. He looks more confident. He's getting there, maybe. But I don't know as yet.
Yeah. I mean, the jury is still out. For me, it's money well wasted, in my opinion.
Oh,
For that
definitely.
sort of money, that striker money, that's 20 goal a season striker type money. I mean, I just don't see Havertz having any major success at Arsenal. In fact, I mean, if you check the statistics, this Arsenal team have somewhat regressed, compared to where I believe I was checking some stats, and they are 4 points worse off this season than they were last season. So, with all the new additions, you would have anticipated the team would have been firing better. But in fact, it's the reverse that is happening. The team is actually playing worse. And of course, this is supported by having 4 less points than at the same point in the season last year. So, the jury is still out, with this Havertz experiment. But do you see him getting the start in the fixture on the weekend?
No, that's what I said. I'm not sure if he's going to start. Last 2 games, he's looked better than he's looked all season. I think Arteta might persist with him if Odegaard is still injured on the weekend. They will
Hmm.
persist with him. Um, he looks better. I'm not saying he looks great. I think he will ultimately not be very successful.
So
The money they spent on Havertz should have been spent to either bring in a new striker or bring in a proper number 8 to replace Xhaka last season.
yeah, I mean that's a shrewd assessment there, you know. I mean you would expect some sort of productivity. I guess fans are still asking, what did Arteta see in Havertz at Chelsea that made him think he would have been a success at Arsenal? I mean, maybe it's overconfidence in thinking he could get the best out of this player. I'm not sure. I'm still waiting to see if he can live up to any sort of, expectations. But
It
Sir Cole, how do you see the other round of fixtures going?
But,
Spurs should be there with nursing their injuries as well.
but just to share a bit on Havertz, he is a technically a very good player, very gifted player. However, doesn't move as fluently, I think, as the other Arsenal players, despite his immense ability with the ball. He can produce moments of magic, but they come few and far between.
reminds you of Berbatov.
Same ways, the exact same person I was thinking of. Good with the ball, can produce some very good magical moments, but overall, they are few
Yeah,
and far between.
It's
in
in
fa-
bursts.
yeah, in fact, anytime I hear the commentators, they're always referencing that, final goal he scored in the Champions League final to win it for Chelsea.
Right.
That seemed to have been his best moment in English football thus far.
His
And
crowning achievement at the
right,
moment.
it's been a constant reference to any commentating team whenever he is playing, and it just goes to show that more needs to come from this player. But it is what it is. But Spurs, Sir Cole, how do you see the Spurs game? I mean, Spurs now, both centre backs gone. Uh
The
Madison should be
defense,
out as well.
yeah, the defense will now be a makeshift defense. Spurs opponents will be who again?
Wolves.
Wolves. Wolves, I think, should be able to exploit such a defense. Wolves has not been playing that bad. Uh, they're a team which I think is very disciplined and should be able to at least come away with something from this game, at least a draw.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, definitely they are playing Arsenal at a very interesting time when, a number of their players are nursing
Uh,
injuries. And
oh no, playing Wolves, playing Wolves.
right, Wolves. Yeah, they are playing, yeah, Spurs versus Wolves. So I'm saying Wolves play Spurs at a very good time. They could not ask for a better time to take on this team when they are really weakened by injuries and, of course, red card suspensions as well. So it should be a very interesting game. This may very well be a good acid test to test the depth of the Spurs squad, and we should see if the manager persists with this sort of attacking style and this high line. A few speedy wingers come to mind for this Wolves team. So
But I've been saying that the Spurs' success will depend on two persons, Madison and Son, and should any one of those to injury, I think it will affect their results. And if Madison is iffy, I don't see the chances, many chances coming for Son. And
yeah,
has been very disciplined. I think they'll be able to at least hold Spurs to one goal while finding two of their own.
Yeah, I mean, Madison should be out. I mean, hamstring injuries are not the sort of injuries that heal overnight. And with the
Hamstring.
international break approaching as well, I don't think the coach will risk him. I think the coach will just give him the extra week of rehabilitation and then see where he's at after the international break. So,
You don't think he can call upon his depth in the squad? The likes of Richarlison.
no, remember, Richarlison just did a surgery.
Richarlison is
Yeah,
out. Okay.
Richarlison is out for a prolonged period, having done surgery on a hip, I believe, or something of the sort. But Richarlison is out, if not for the remainder of this year, a large chunk of the season. So yeah, the depth in the Spurs squads will definitely be tested. I mean, centre back, you're possibly looking at a Hoiberg-Dyer combination. So it just goes to show, I mean, Spurs definitely needs bodies if they are to, maintain this superb start to the season. And we'll definitely see how that one pans out come the weekend. But the games are coming thick and fast, Sir Cole. Any final thoughts on the weekend's action?
Looking forward to another entertaining week of football. I hope there is less controversy on the VAR side and we can actually enjoy the games instead of having to discuss VAR week in, week out.
Yes, definitely. I mean, for me, VAR has been a tremendous addition to the game, but I just think there need to be universal use of the technology and finding what works best across the board rather than every institution using it differently. We see the Champions League use it differently, the EPL use it differently, the German League use it differently. I think there just need to be a universal usage where fans know watching a football match, the technology will be used in one particular way. But Christophe, how do you see any final thoughts on the weekend's action?
Um, like Sir Cole said, hopefully no controversies over the weekend as it relates to VAR. Earlier you spoke about Arsenal being worse off this season than last season. I mean, I had said it in weeks that I thought Arsenal were poor despite getting the results, and some of it has come to fruition. They've been dropping points that they should really be getting all three. Arsenal, even though they lost the last couple of, they've done poorly in the last couple of games. Defensively, they are better this season than last season. But being defensively sound just makes you harder to beat. But it's scoring goals that wins you games. So until they fix that, they will struggle when it comes to opposition that will test them. Um, Manu should beat Luton, but given how horrendously spotty they've been, it is up in the air at the moment. I think it will draw. I am, however, very impressed by Rasmus Højlund. I think he will continue to do well at the moment. I am not completely sold on the fact that Ten Hag is the problem. I think maybe the players are messing about over there in Manu, and they need to come together and just play some football and stop doing whatever they're doing. The lack of discipline at Manu is shining through at the moment.
Well, there you have it, viewers and subscribers, the views of Sir Cole and Christophe. Sir Cole, Christophe, just like to thank you again for coming on board and sharing your thoughts and your opinions. Viewers, remember to like, comment, and of course, subscribe if you haven't done so as yet. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.